And so what are they going to manifest in your life if it is a thought form of financial privation and limitation and frustration and struggle? They will manifest events in your life that will ensure that you are experiencing financial struggle and hardship. You see, we are creating our own reality through our thought forms and through our desires and through our imagination and through our expectancy. God and Goddess have set it up in a way that the houses of our horoscope are a direct reflection of our raw materials. And so we've got to ensure that we're very, very careful about what do we place in these houses, what sort of thought forms do we create. And let's work on breaking down the negative thought forms and transforming them into positive thought forms over a period of time. And this is where the science of meditation and processing and programming comes in, and drawing upon your subconscious mind. But let's now look just very briefly at these houses of your horoscope and just see what's involved with these and what sort of thought forms are expressing themselves through there. The first house of your horoscope is the house of your personal self-initiated efforts. And everything that commences and starts from your own initiative belongs in that house. And the second house is the house of finances and security. It's the house of how well seated are you, and the ways and means that you provide security, financial security, for you and your loved ones. The third house is the house of your immediate environment, relatives, neighbours and those close to you, and your means and methods of communication with those in that environment. The fourth house is the home environment and the family and the domestic side of life. It rules one of the parents. It's to do with everybody who cohabitates with you in the home. And so what are you setting up there? The fifth house is the house of children. It's the house of the entertainments and amusement, romance, love, the social side of life and the sexual side of life. The sixth house is the house of the job and health and dietary matters. The seventh house is the house of the spouse, the partner, the general public, court cases, opponents. The eighth house is the house of joint finances and death of aspects of yourself that you've outgrown. Through introspection and reflection, you bring about these mini deaths within yourself of aspects of your nature that you've outgrown. The ninth house is the house of foreign travel, adult education, expansion of your consciousness to new horizons, which you can do through study, research and investigation as an adult, or you can do through travel as an adult. The 10th house is the house of the career and business as distinct from the job, and it's the house of your highest ambitions and your honour and respect in the community. The 11th house is the house of friends, club activities, group social functions and other people's children. The 12th house is the house where you get it all together of what you've learned through the other 11 houses. And that's the house of introspection and reflection to bring about spiritual values, principles and qualities within yourself. And if you don't get this together through the wonder and the beauty of solitude and introspection, you will have enforced introspection through hospitalization and through crisis and pain and struggle and hardship. So it's the house of sorrows as well, and prisons and hospitals and places like that, asylums and so forth. Now each of these houses represents a part of your body. And this is all part of the feedback mechanism. The first house rules the head and the face. The second house rules the throat and the neck. The third house rules the lungs and the bronchial system, the hands and the arms. The fourth house rules the stomach and the digestive area. The fifth house rules the heart and the chest. The sixth house rules the lower intestines and the digestive system, and it rules your health. The seventh house rules the back and the kidneys and the bladder, the lumbar region. The eighth house rules the bowels, the sex organs. The ninth house rules the thighs. The 10th house rules the knees. The 11th house rules the lower leg and the calves. And the 12th house rules the ankles and the feet. And so we get feedback into our reality of events in our life which are a direct reflection of our raw materials, our attitudes, our beliefs, our thoughts, our feelings, our decisions and our choices, and our desire, imagination and expectancy. So if we're getting headaches all the time, and if we've got injuries to the head and the face, then what's that telling us? It's telling us that our self-initiated efforts are not being created in the right way. That we've got negative attitude towards our own self and our own capacity to launch these projects. The second house, if we've got throat and neck trouble and all sorts of problems with our finances, then what's it telling us? Our feedback mechanism is telling us that we're not being wise with our handling of money. And so we end up with throat trouble and neck trouble and discs out of place. The third house is the lungs and the bronchial system. If we've got lung trouble and if we've got injuries to the hands and the arms, and that house also rules short journeys, including motor vehicles and transportation. So if we're having accidents on the road and lung and bronchial trouble and injuries to the hands and the arms, what's our feedback mechanism trying to tell us? That we're communicating with those who are close to us in a way which is full of domination, manipulation and control and deceit and anger. And so this is what we're doing. We've got a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress and a lot of tension behind our communications and a lot of anger. And we live by the principle and the belief that we must dominate and control, or we will be dominated and controlled. We must manipulate in order to get people to love us because we're not worthy of love. And the fourth house is the home environment. If we're having stomach trouble and accidents around the home and things like that, what's it trying to tell us? That we're not providing a sense of security to those in our home environment. A warm and friendly and loving place where we can express the qualities of the soul. Tenderness and kindness and forgiveness and sympathy and tolerance and patience and trust and devotion and idealism and hope and joy. What are we providing for our people who cohabitate with us in the home? Are we providing a sense of love and security and belonging and joy? Or are we dominating and controlling and manipulating and expressing anger in the home? The fifth house of romance and love and children, if we're experiencing problems in romance and love, problems with children, difficulties in the social side of our life and the expression of our intimacy and sexuality, then what's our feedback mechanism trying to tell us? That we are not expressing love, that we must first of all, before we can love another, we must love ourselves. We can't love another unless we first love ourselves. So therefore, we don't love ourselves. We don't love ourselves because we have problems with our self-image. We don't believe that we deserve to be loved. And so we're involved in all sorts of relationships that are deceptive, and we are forming relationships for the wrong reason, and we are trying to dominate and control that which we love, that person that we love, instead of worrying and concerning ourselves about changes that we should be making inside of ourselves to become more of who we really are, to become more complete. We are all the time concerned with what the other person is thinking, doing and being and planning. And we are trying to mould and shape them into what we want them to be. The idea of relationships is not to have somebody who we can make us complete, but to have somebody with whom we can share our completeness. And so relationships that are formed for the wrong reason, based on domination and manipulation and control, the image that I want you to be, instead of letting them become who they are. Concentrate upon yourself and the changes that are necessary within yourself, and let them take care of the details of their changes in their life. So relationships that don't work are based on the wrong reasons, formed for the wrong reasons. I want somebody to love me, instead of I want somebody with whom I can share my love. And children, problems with children, what sort of security are you providing for your children? What sort of example are you creating for your children when you smoke and you use drugs and you use alcohol? What sort of example are you setting for them if you get involved in deceptive relationships? And as far as health is concerned, are we exercising and dieting properly? Are we looking after ourselves through exercise and right diet? Are we loyal in the job? How do we get on with people that we work with? If we're in and out of different jobs, if we're having bad health, if we're having difficulties with people that we work with, what's our feedback mechanism trying to tell us? So this is what I'm trying to say to you. I've spoken enough here on this video for you to get the idea of what I'm trying to say, is that the events and conditions of your life are your feedback mechanism to help you to become more of the giant that you truly are. God and Goddess love you and know your name. And they have set it up in a way whereby all of the events of your life are created by you, not imposed upon you from higher dimensions. No. They are a direct reflection of your raw materials and your thought forms. So think about what I've said here, and think about how you can become more of who you really are by having your horoscope done. I'll do it for you free of charge, and I'll be able to tell you where your tests in life lie and which are the main 5 houses in your horoscope which are the focal point of consciousness for you in this incarnation, and how you are bringing about changes within yourself through the experimenting and experiencing and expressing your consciousness through your space-time rule set as events and conditions in your life, to give you the feedback on where you are making mistakes, where you are digressing from the path that your higher self wants you to take. The path of love and tenderness and kindness and forgiveness and sympathy and tolerance. Get your horoscope done. Watch my videos over and over to become more of who you really are, and subscribe to my videos so that you can get all the ones that I produce in 2013. Each one leading you into higher states of understanding and higher states of consciousness. So I thank you for your attentiveness, and I look forward to working with you should you decide to have your horoscope done. Thank you.